I'll tell you, this was embarrassing too. We can talk about sex for a minute here. We can do it. We're adults here.
All right. Let me change. You want me to lead this? Let me put on my silk robe.
Let's talk about it here for just a second. Okay. Well, one thing, I was embarrassed. I read today, and I told Chris Demm because he's from this area. Chris Demm is from Virginia, born and raised in Richmond.
Not born.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Raised.
Born in France, raised in Richmond, Virginia.
Correct.
So I read today, and you know how I skim things.
We've only known each other 30 years.
Yes, that's right. Well, we know you're born in France and then raised in Richmond. So I skim articles, as you know, and a woman named Susanna Gibson is running for the Virginia State House. And the headline was, Virginia candidate for State House performs sex acts online with her husband for money. And I thought, well, if that's against the law, what country is it?
I thought it was America.
What country is this? Yeah. She's 40 years old. Her name is Susanna Gibson. She is a nurse practitioner and mother who's running in the suburban Richmond district, which is where Chris Demm lives.
Now we're getting even closer.
So Chris Demm, now here's where I messed it up because I just skim. I don't read all the details. He says, what county? Henrico. Mm-hmm. What are your counties?
There's Henrico, there's Hanover, there's Chesterfield.
Okay, so he names it. I said, no. She's from Chaturbate County.
Oh, no.
Chris Demm said, I don't know that county. I said, yeah, she says right here she's from Chaturbate.
That's down by the river. That's down there near Spotsylvania. Yeah.
Chaturbate.
He said, are you sure that's a county in Virginia? I should know the counties in Virginia. I said, oh, no, she's got a house down in Chaturbate.
Oh, yeah.
She and her husband's on Chaturbate, down in Pulaski.
I think you need to read a little further.
That's apparently that's the online platform she was on with her husband. She's on Chaturbate. Okay. And now they're saying, she needs to resign from the race. And I say, stand up for your rights and be an American.
Right.
She's an American.
Has this come to light because the candidate has announced it or her opponents have discovered this?
Her opponents discovered. And at least
that's a scandal, of course.
In 2 clips, she would perform certain acts only in a private room for which a viewer would have to pay more money. And it was her and her husband a few years ago when she was in her early 30s. She is now 40 years old, and she is running, like I said, it's Chris Demm there. He's from Chaturbate.
I wonder if I know her mom. Quite possible.
You might.
I went to school with her.
In response to a request that they perform a certain act, she goes, I'll do it, but I need more tokens before I let him do that one. Okay. So that's there you have it.
Where do you put them?
Tokens.
Yeah. Well, Chaturbate is one of those things that sites that pop up when you're looking at other porn. They'd like you forget to close the window.
Yeah.
And you'll see later. Because see, sometimes you go to a porn site.
Oh, is that what that is? I don't know. I thought it was right outside Washington D.C. I didn't.
Arlington's in Chaturbate County. I'm a single guy. I'll own it.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you're looking at certain sites, you'll click on a video.
Yeah.
Well, it opens another window, and in that window pops up an ad. And sometimes when you look, Chaturbate's that ad. You're like, no, get out of here.
Well, let me ask you this, Biggie, because I've heard of Chaturbate, but we now live in an OnlyFans world. Is Chaturbate a poor man's OnlyFans?
I have no clue. I don't know about I would think it's more expensive because Chaturbate sounds to me like you're interacting with the person.
True.
That is true. You can ask for certain things. As she said, she's retained
Pony up the tokens.
Pony up the tokens. She retained an attorney who argues that she should have a reasonable expectation of privacy on Chaturbate, and this should not have been leaked anywhere that she was on there.
It's not illegal, but I don't expect her to win her
No.
race.
Oh, I agree. I think that's going to be a problem. And but they say it's a key seat because Virginia is very close between Republicans and Democrats in the legislature, and it was going to be a close race anyway. There's another. This is about sex now. All right, this is
More
about
sex?
This is sexual in nature.
right.
A British Airways flight is going viral on a flight attendant because apparently, and I saw the video, he's in the back of the plane, and the rumor was that 2 people were in the bathroom joining the Mile High Club, and the people on the plane, a lot of them knew the 2 people in the bathroom, and they were saying, open the door, and he did.
You can't do that.
He did. He opened the door, and it was...
did he use a key?
It was open. No, it was open, I guess. Well, I don't know. It looked like he just opened the door. I saw the video of it.
It wasn't locked.
I don't think so.
How do you not lock it if you're in there with a partner?
Listen to the... Now the door's open, and it's clear that's what they're doing.
Banging.
They are. They're banging in there. Didn't look like he opened it with a key or anything, but he sure did open it, and there they were, and just getting ready to go out, and the male closed the door, and all these British folks were on there. I think might have been like a bachelorette party. There was a lot of young women, and they all knew each other. They all seemed to know each other.
Yeah.
And they were on the flight. But that's all I know about it. And the fact that, I don't know, if you're a flight attendant and you suspect that's going on, do you open the door and try to put an end to it, or do you just let it be?
Well, I think you go banging on it for sure. You don't maybe not open it, but you go over there and say, hey, I know both of y'all are in there. Get out of there.
Yeah.
Get out of here now.
Yeah.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
Almost finished.
Don't even.
We're gonna ban you and this and that when we land if you don't come out now.
Yeah. Get out of here. Get out of here. Put your clothes on and let's go. That's how that's how I would say it if I had it like that.
I look in those lavatories now. I just don't know how it
Just under the physics
occurs.
I'll tell you, this one seemed large. This one seemed larger.
There is no headroom for that.
When I'm standing to urinate, my head is hitting the fuselage of the plane.
Yeah.
Well, she was all, like bent over, and he was behind her.
Looking at herself in the mirror?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's still,
you think almost one person would have to be seated.
There's still not much room in there.
She might have been on her.
Like the gentleman should be seated.
He was not. He was behind her.
It's a bigger bathroom.
It's very nice.
Maybe.
It seemed roomy. Airplane Shane, how did the flight attendant get in, and is that the protocol to go in if you think something's going on in there?
Hey, guys, P1. I don't know about the protocol, Chris, but the flight attendants and the crew, you can access that bathroom. There's one way, and usually only the flight crews know how to do it. There's a little sign that says lavatory on it. If you lift that lavatory sign, there's a way to open that door for emergencies. That's how they got in.
Okay. That makes perfect sense. And there would have to be, because somebody could have a heart attack.
Of course.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank
I don't
you.
mind the crew getting in.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. Airplane Shane.
Well, the pilot's got to put the light on. No smoking, no missionary position.
That's right.
Which they do in airplanes.
They do that in the movie Airplane. That's right. Ding, ding. Rows 1 through 12, no smoking. Rows 12 through 25,
no sex.
No sex. That's exactly right.
I bet they were flying to Ibiza, right?
They might have been.
Those Randy Brits, man, they fly to Spain and just get tore
in big
up.
groups.
And they were and a lot of these women on the plane had wine in their hand, and they were like cheering and laughing.
That's Ibiza.
It looked like a real fun flight. I know that. Now, that you talk about a party that went bad, they're calling it the worst birthday party of all time. Let's get the story straight. It's in upstate New York, Stony Brook, New York, and apparently there is a Japanese restaurant there where a mom took her daughter, who was turning 13, and 11 of the daughter's friends, and they were set to have a birthday party.
Hibachi style.
Hibachi style.
That's fun.
And they were having a great time.
Get the whole, probably get the whole table.
Exactly. Now, Dave has a story about a Japanese restaurant where a cockroach ran across the grill once, where it was being made in front of you.
Yeah, that's right.
And you turned to your son.
Yeah.
And one said to the other, "Did you see that?"
We just looked at each other, and he said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yep."
Got up and left.
He said, "What?" And there was a little 5-year-old boy sitting next to him.
Yep.
And he looked at us, and I said, "We're leaving."
And you left.
And that poor little 5-year-old was there by himself.
Do you think later the chef took the cockroach and flipped it into his hat?
I don't know.
Or caught it on a fork?
Well, the little
set it on the side of his knife on the edge.
Right.
The flat top was not on yet.
Right. Well, the place here is called Kumo Japanese Steakhouse, Stony Brook, New York. And the mom tells the story. They were having a great time. Her daughter, who was celebrating the birthday.
It started out great. We got a cake, the balloons, the girls were having a great time. And then it took a turn for the worst.
Here's what happened.
That's portentous.
Okay. 100% portentous. And she says, I look up after about 15 minutes after the meals they were halfway through the meals. And one of the girls was projectile vomiting. Ooh. All right, this is the mom.
One girl was projectile vomiting. I still didn't know, is this anxiety? And then I happened to look over, and there was another girl projectile vomiting.
Soon all 12 girls were projectile
All
vomiting.
12.
Along
At the
with,
hibachi?
At the hibachi, along with 13 other diners in the hibachi. In all, 25 projectile vomited in the hibachi.
So this wasn't coincidence.
No, it would have
They didn't come in with it.
No.
All
This is bad hibachi.
6 other tables.
That's bad hibachi.
Oh, I thought this was going to be a joyous thing, and it turned out to be them all in the hospital together for the night.
All of the girls had to spend the night in the hospital. Food poisoning. And
What was it?
The reason was poorly stored rice. They went in the next day. They've called Kumo for comment, but Kumo's not answering the phone.
No comment from Kuma.
No comment from and Kumo's closed for the
Kumo
time.
closed.
Isn't the rice one of the first things they make?
Yeah. They said it was.
They do the order of the food,
Well,
right?
they put the meat on,
because
and
everybody gets rice.
They said the rice had been stored improperly in temperatures that were too warm back in the storage area.
I didn't know that could happen with rice.
But it's
No.
fried right in front of you.
They do. They fry. You're right. They fry it.
Rice is
right
grown
in front of
outside in humidity.
you. You're right.
I wonder if it's the eggs or
Unless something got in the rice.
the handling of the rice. Anyhow, they pinned the blame on the rice, and 25 people in that restaurant projectile vomited before
blame
they-
it on the rice.
and they all were spewing before they left that restaurant.
You got to close the restaurant and rebuild it.
I don't think after this that the restaurant will have any patrons. I don't
You
think
got to change your name.
yeah.
Even if you can reopen.
it's going to be.
There'll be one guy who didn't hear the story.
Yeah.
We'll walk in and be like, well, easy to get a table today. The place is normally packed.
Apparently, people do like the restaurant, but they handled their food improperly, according to the investigator.
I've never heard of that with rice.
I mean, I was surprised. I thought it'd be the chicken.
There's butter and eggs
Yeah.
in it, right? Or certainly the produce.
They do crack an
Or
egg in the rice.
proteins.
There's an egg, and there definitely is a big
Tons of butter.
hunk of butter in there.
The rice?
We have a dramatic reenactment of the birthday celebration. That's Kumo Restaurant.
So
up in
much
Stone.
vomit.
It's horrible. All that vomit you hear in there.
Ugh.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's one of those things where
poor mom. Yeah.
you know, like you see in movies when like that are shot in battle scenes where you can't hear anything around you and everything kind of slows down and all you see is vomit.
Yeah. Everywhere you look.
You're just staggering through the carnage.
That's like the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
like when you can't hear.
Yeah, guy's dragging his friend, half of his
temporarily
friend.
deaf.
Right.
Ugh.
God, it's just terrible. But
I
yeah,
just doesn't make sense though. The rice thing. There's got to be a. What is the what bacteria is on that?
I don't know. I'm not sure why, but they did blame the rice entirely. There's that poor woman. Into her. Oh, just awful. Candace, you're talking about bad rice and how it can cause projectile vomiting. Go ahead.
Yeah, so most hibachi places actually use day-old rice. The rice is cooked beforehand, and then it is stored. It allows it to be fully cooked, but then dry out some to lessen the wait time. So more than likely, this rice was cooked before and then just left out.
There it is.
And, of course, any food left out will make you sick.
There it is. So that's what they said.
I never knew that.
They said it was improperly stored cooked rice.
That's why
exactly
it's
what
cooked.
they said.
She's right. They do it the day before, so because they don't boil it in front of you.
No, that's right.
You got to boil it. It's got to be boiled.
You're right.
You're right.
So they thank you,
Fast.
Candace.
Great
That
factoid.
makes sense. So they boil the rice ahead of time, then they cook it, they warm it in front of you.
Yeah,
when
they
they
just
make
warm it up in front of you.
Tony, you're talking about rice. Go ahead.
Yeah, I teach high school culinary, and most foods can be in the time and temperature danger zone of 41 to 135 for 4 hours. But rice, because it grows bacteria so fast, can only be in that zone for 2 hours.
My
Oh,
goodness.
wow.
Man,
That's a cool high school class.
it is. Yeah. Do you think that this restaurant knew that and just broke the rules?
Well, in the 1970s, there was a restaurant in Durham called the Heart of Durham that started the rice diet, and they got in a lot of trouble for having these large stacks of rice that people were getting sick.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
teach it in all kinds of courses.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Tony. A lot of knowledge here about food
Yeah.
and
Don't
rice.
leave your rice out. over 2 hours.
Blogger Jen, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Listen, I'll put a Spanish rice out for a while.
I've let it sit on the stove and gone back 3-4 hours later and have a bite.
A little more rice.
Shoot.
Blogger Jen, you're talking about rice as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody thinks rice is safe because, it's just rice. But a lot of times they're cooked in the same skillet as meat or other animal products. And if you eat it the same day, that's probably not a problem. The problem comes when it's not stored properly for a day or more. Then it gets the chance to grow that bacteria and contaminate the food.
Well, there it is right there. And every person at the Japanese restaurant eats rice. It's not like if I get steak and rice or chicken,
everybody gets it.
All comes from
vegetarians eat rice.
Yes.
And it's even on the sushi.
And look what happened. Man, I shouldn't laugh at that story.
No.
Because that's not funny. And but yet it did have this humor because everybody's projectile vomiting. Now and we'll have to ask Lisa Lanier, our official attorney, about this on Friday. The mom says she's considering legal action because of the anxiety caused by the episode. The girls all had to spend the night in the hospital.
Maybe they may have to pay for the hospital bill. But
you got 12 teens in the hospital.
I don't know about punitives.
I don't know if it's actionable.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to ask her about this.
Unless they knew what they were doing.
I don't think they did, though, because all it is, they stored it improperly. That's my guess, is they just...
but they knew they stored it improperly.
Or...
Somebody knew they made all that rice the day before and left it in the pot and just left it out overnight.
You'd have to know that. Or did they bring it out early that morning and it sat on the stove too long? Like you just said, it sat there for 5 hours instead of 4, and they didn't know it or didn't think that far ahead.
Learned a lot today. I've learned a lot.
Yeah, that's I didn't know that.
It's a rookie mistake, by the way, to fill up on rice at hibachi because they give it to you first.
Do you think they want you to fill
up?
That's
how they get you.
Well, because everybody gets stuff to go because the meat comes later.
You're right, and you do.
And rice, so much veg, so much rice.
Rice will fill you up.
Yeah.
I just read never to eat bread at a restaurant.
I don't.
Great.
But I don't know why. I didn't read the whole
People
story.
do that. People will bring out a basket of bread and people just go down on it like it's like they haven't eaten in days.
You're right. I've done that. I've eaten a ton of bread. But is it because it fills you up? Is that the only reason they want you to eat bread so you don't?
I don't know why they do because then you may order more.
Mm-hmm.
Then they bring the bread.
They bring more bread.
But then you take it home with you.
But sometimes the bread doesn't come out until after you've ordered.
Yeah. Dean, you're talking about food poisoning and this rice story. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So picture yourself, basic training. It's about the end of things. We got a weekend. We had to pull post guard duty, freezing cold in January. It's like 1 o'clock. We're getting off a deuce and a half, and they're like, hey, hot soup. And it's like, no, thanks, Sarge. I'm going to bed. I went to sleep. I woke up at 6 in the morning, and it reeked in the barrack. 46 guys had been projectile liquid exiting their bodies from both ends for hours. It got up to the Pentagon, this investigation, because 46 guys went down at one time.
Wow.
And it turned out roaches had gotten into the Mermite cans and laid eggs in that soup.
Oh, my God.
But not you.
But you were the one person that skipped the soup. Wow.
Went to sleep. Yeah, I was like, no thanks, guys. I'm sleeping.
Lucky.
Incredible.
Boy, is that lucky or what that he decided to skip the soup?
Imagine the low-level general who got that on his desk.
Yeah.
Cockroach eggs.
Puking in the barracks.
Can I plan our next strategic offense? No.
The boys can't go.
Don't you look into the puking in the barracks story.
Thanks, Dean.